Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. Today we are going to be reviewing another book. This is another supplemental reading book to Fire Academy. It is not a required reading textbook, but it is on the suggested reading list. And I did read it. It is called The Atomic Power with God Through Prayer and Fasting by Franklin Hall. This book was first published in 1946 by Franklin Hall. Now, Hall is of a Pentecostal persuasion, and he was some kind of evangelist. I do not know anything about him besides that. I do know that he was probably one of the biggest advocates of fasting, and if it were not for his book and his teaching, fasting would have remained in the realm of obscure and unused spiritual disciplines. Something we don't realize, that some of these early writers and teachers really brought a lot of important things back to the forefront. Before 1900, there was nobody praying for healing. There was nobody who believed in healing. There was nobody who did this. In fact, some places it was even illegal to do this because it would have been considered practicing medicine without a license. When we had people like Bosworth, Wigglesworth, Jack Coe, these people fought back against these. They brought their teaching, they brought their example, and they changed the scope on this. Fasting was much like that. Before Hall, before the 30s and 40s, nobody ever fasted. Nobody ever talked about it. Trust me, I have read a lot on his church history. It was not a spiritual discipline that was widely in use. It was maybe, some monks and some really dedicated prayer warriors in some places on the planet. But most Christians in the West didn't really know very much or care very much about fasting. Franklin Hall's book does a very good job at explaining why it is important. So the first thing I would like to say is that Hall's book talks very much about all the spiritual and physical benefits to fasting. Not just the spiritual ones, but also the physical benefits, just the physical and health benefits to fasting, of which there are many. And if you're interested, you just go ahead and read the book. There's a lot in there. The next thing that he talks about that I think is really important is what actually is a biblical fast. Now, some people today, because Americans are lazy and fat and slovenous, that I'm going to fast from TV, so I'm going to watch YouTube on my phone instead of watch TV. Okay, well, that's not a fast. Abstaining from social media, abstaining from phones and movies and all this, that is a good thing. That is not what a fast is. The Hebrew word for fast means to shut your mouth, close your mouth, and not to let anything in it. That is what a fast is. Biblically, Hall explains that primarily biblical fasting is water fasting. That means they didn't drink or eat anything except they drank water. He does somewhat go into a couple of examples of absolute fasting with no water, or Daniel fasting, which had some other stuff included besides water. But primarily fasting is water fasting, and that is what he is going for. The next thing he talks about is how fasting can be overcome certain roadblocks. That what actually does fasting produce? Why is it important? Okay, so we know the Bible says it. We know these are the spiritual and physical benefits, but what does fasting actually do? Well, he has this chart in the book that shows how fasting is enhancing your prayer life and helps your prayer to overcome bigger obstacles that natural prayer won't be able to do. And I think that's a very apt description. So a couple of cons. I would say that his teaching, that he's very hyper-vigilant on water fasting only, and I believe there's a lot of leeway to that when people do fasts where they just do a juice fast or they just drink tea and water or something like that, I think that is still in a fast. I have done many fasts like that, and they have been very, very effective for the goals that I was fasting for. I think that there is a lot more leeway than Hall leaves for it. But I definitely understand why water fasting is important. So overall, I would very highly suggest this for everybody. I think fasting is a very important spiritual discipline, especially for us Americans, because we are so obsessed with food. We're so obsessed with comfort. And that is something that we need to overcome. Gluttony is a sin. It's something we need to overcome. And if we want to overcome all the other tomfoolery going on in the nation right now, fasting is something that we need to learn about. So I highly suggest this book for everybody. I say overall, it is a 9 out of 10. We'll have the bibliography information in the description. If you're interested in taking Fire Academy in person, that will be at Church Sitkanu. And that address is going to be at 6736 Linda Vista Road in San Diego, California. Again, that's Church Sitkanu. Fire Academy is a highly suggested training course for healing, deliverance, and evangelism. If you're interested in taking Fire Academy online, please leave a comment below or message me on Facebook and I can get you in touch with the right people. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed.